Hello and welcome to Golden Bear Insider. Happy to be with you here for episode 2 from Buffalo Wild Wings on Snelling Avenue in St. Paul, right near the Concordia campus. Again, we'll be doing these first Thursday of every month. That's the plan. And you can come on out to Buffalo Wild Wings, see us live. And we're glad you found the web stream here as well. So we're going to talk about all of the fall sports once again. A busy month, getting all the seasons underway. I'm joined, of course, by Athletic Director Tom Rebelke. And Tom, a lot to go over here from the month of September. It was a pretty exciting month.
Yeah, we had a great month. It was a lot of fun. I mean, and a lot more fun coming up here, especially starting this weekend with the homecoming.
And we'll talk a little bit about homecoming later on in the show. We'll hear from the football team, soccer, cross country, golf as well. But we're going to begin with volleyball. Volleyball team moving back up to number 3 in the national poll, the most recent AVCA rankings, coming off a perfect week, and joined by head coach Brady Starkey, Heather Schiller, having a very good month as well. And I guess we'll start with you, Coach Starkey. I guess just in general, you've had your tournament, the tournament out in Colorado, some conference matches as well. How do you feel things are coming together here early part of the season?
Well, I think that they're starting to progress pretty well. I think that we kind of had a bumpy start to begin with. I thought we'd be a little more smooth, I think, at the start than we were since we had so many returners. But we're starting to kind of get our way with us and kind of gel a little bit more. We had a good weekend this weekend, picking up a couple nice road wins. The match against Mankato, too, as well. So hopefully we're heading in the right direction.
How much did it mean to you just to kind of get that perfect week? You had the one loss in your tournament, one loss out in Colorado that first week, had the loss to Winona State, just to sort of start to build some momentum here, stringing a few wins together.
Well, definitely it's a big deal to kind of get those road wins for us. I think that the match against Southwest is a big match. We'll get to play them again at home, but picking up a road win against a team like that, and also just kind of solidifying our home against Mankato on Tuesday was a big match.
You don't start your season easy. You go right after them, right from the start with Palm Beach Atlantic and your first matchup of the year. That was it was a great tournament.
Yeah, I mean it was good competition. It was hopefully we got us ready for our conference, which is obviously brutal with how many teams are ranked in the top 25 in the country, and so we're hoping that it prepared us well for our conference.
Heather, a big part of the identity for the team so far has been defense, and you've kind of led that up front with your blocking at the net among the leaders in the conference, the nation in blocking. Kind of how have you been working on that to really make that a big part of your game here this year?
Yeah, blocking's been a big focus at all of our practices. We have a huge front row, so just solidifying our block, being in the right position has allowed our defense to be more confident, and if we're not blocking the ball, they're digging the ball. So.
And how do you kind of work to bring the offense in with that? You're very focused on your defensive responsibilities at the net, but hit at a very high percentage here this past week and have been all season.
Yeah, just trying to hit smart shots, always being up and available. When we have 3 hitters in the front row, Casey's doing a great job of setting the right person at the right time and getting us single blocks.
So when you guys go on the road, obviously you got your sister with you this year.
Yeah.
That's got to be a little bit of fun, first of all, isn't it?
It is a great time, yeah.
Yeah, you get a chance to play with your sister. You don't get to do that very often in college athletics.
No, I'm so lucky. We're so lucky, especially ending on my last year here, to be able to experience that. I'm her biggest fan. I think she's my biggest fan. Yeah. It's just a great experience.
Yeah, and of course your parents are there every week, and they're very vocal and very
vocal.
Yeah, very loud, very loud. They do a great job out there. Yeah, they do a great job. So on a road weekend, you guys leave here on a Friday morning or a Thursday afternoon for that. Like last weekend, you left on Friday morning, I believe, for your match Friday night in Marshall against. What do you? I mean, how do you prepare for that? What do you do? I mean, obviously you're out of classes on Friday, so you got a little study table on the bus. You get a little chance to catch up with some of that.
Definitely a strength of our team. We're all very focused on academics, so we do a great job of getting our work done, and then we don't have to stress about that, when it's time to actually play volleyball. So I don't know. I guess our buses go between focus on homework and then just enjoying time together. Yeah. Road trips are a great time to bond and just hang out with each other, as if we don't do that enough.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I imagine that trip out to Denver kind of does a good job setting the tone for that, a little bit of a longer trip. You get on a plane for that one.
Yeah, that's our favorite tournament of the year. I got to take that back, besides the last tournament of the year.
Yeah, I gotta throw that one in there, yep. And Brady, for you too, I mean, I know we've talked a little bit before some of the matches about trying to find the identity on offense and all that, but we mentioned the blocking, the digging's been very good as well. You've said in years past you want to have a defensive identity for a team, so are you pretty happy with the way that defense has been constant and kind of a strong identity for you so far?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like it's saved us. I feel like it's saved us in a few of our matches so far when our offense hasn't been exactly firing on all cylinders. We feel pretty good that eventually our offense will kind of be one of our mainstays, but we also really wanted to make sure that this year that we're going to really defend the net well and then pick up our back court from, I think, what it's been in the last couple of years. So if we can defend well, we can actually find ways to win on nights where maybe our offense isn't going great, and hopefully that's kind of what we continue to do here as we go.
And Heather, for you too, the team brought in a lot of talented new players this year, some transfers, some talented freshmen. We talked about your sister a little bit. It's been a lot of the returners that have been playing, but I guess maybe how much have some of those new players kind of helped push you guys in practice and really bring up that level of competition?
That's our key to being such a solid team, is that we're constantly playing a good team. So those new players, but also those players who have been on our team who are playing on the other side of the net, that's what's really making us the team that we are. So they're all helping, whether they're on the court playing or not.
That's always been a trait at Concordia Volleyball. You've always had good backup play. So every day in practice, when you scrimmage against each other, you're playing against the best there is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you guys have coming up? I know you're bringing two really good teams into the Gangloff Center here this weekend.
Yeah, we do. We got Augustana on Friday night, and they're kind of they were young last year, and now they kind of got some more experience here. Big blocking team, run a very fast offense. They run a 6-2, so they kind of have big hitters in the front row the whole time, and they're doing really well. They've got a new coach. They're I think they're like 11-2 or something right now. So we expect a tough match from them. And then Wayne, obviously, every single year they're a fantastic team. Very defensive oriented, ball controlled team. It's going to be one of those teams that's going to be hard to put the ball to the floor. We're going to have to actually make sure that we're really staying with every single point and trying to grind out points against a team like that. So we're fired up for the test, though.
So the Augustana game, the Augustana match, you'll be facing a new coach there. Have you had a chance to see any of their matches yet? Have you had a chance to see them on video or anywhere? I don't know if they're out in Denver, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we get access to everybody's video and stuff, and everybody gets access to our video. So we all kind of know what each other, their habits and stuff like that, and what they do. And so, hopefully we'll be well prepared for those teams on Friday and Saturday.
So are they a different team than they were last year?
I think that they're definitely pushing the envelope of a faster tempo. They're a tougher serving team, I think, than they were. And their ball control is really solidified. They've got a great libero that she was a freshman last year, and she had a great season last year. I feel like she's doing even more this year than she was last year, so that'll be tough to score on that kid.
Wayne stated that again. They were young last year as well, weren't they?
Well, actually, they're pretty experienced. They've got 3, I believe, redshirt seniors or whatever on their team. So they've been around playing together for a long time, and it's basically their exact same lineup from what they had last year, and they were really good last year. So, yep.
It should be a lot of fun this weekend. Of course, we'll have the webcast through CUGoldenBears.com. But Brady and Heather, thank you very much for joining us here today.
Good luck. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Brady Starkey and Heather Schiller here on Golden Bear Insider. We're going to be talking about the golf team coming up next, but first we step aside. You are watching Golden Bear Insider, a stream-powered production.
It was January 14th, 2011, playoff time, when mere mortals fall, but the great ones create their own destiny. Like Barry Patterson and his against all odds Hail Barry. He launched it past the front line, cleared the secondary, and threaded the needle to victory.
Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Taking into account the Euclidean theory of whole numbers, one can see a rationalization between the numbers themselves and the entity upon which the transvectoring factors occur. That is not to say that the transgental factoring is a factor of 1, but rather a sublimation of the factor of 1. Needless to say, this will be on the exam.
Thanks, dude. See you tomorrow.
Jimmy John. Order online at jimmyjohns.com.
Success doesn't just happen. It takes work. At Northwestern Mutual, we'll help you build a financial plan and stick with it, doing the little things that can lead to big rewards.
Welcome back to Golden Bear Insider. Dan Flanagan, Tom Rebelke with you here as we're going to talk golf now, joined by new head coach Taylor Auman, just announced a few weeks ago, and also Rachel Gray with us as well. And Taylor, first of all, just congratulations. It announced that you had gotten the head coaching job, and just what's the last month or so been like for you?
It's been pretty hectic, getting in the groove of things, but the team makes it very easy. I mean, they're all playing pretty well right now, so I think it's just, getting my feet comfortable and that sort of thing. So it's going well. I like it.
We kind of just threw it right in the fire. First of all, Taylor's been a part of the program for the last 6 years. First 4 years as a student athlete, then the last 2 years as the grad assistant for Coach Higgins at that point. And so I knew the transition going from assistant coach to head coach was going to be smooth. I thought it was going to be a seamless transition, and she's showing that she's done a wonderful job with that, and we couldn't be more happy, more proud of her. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess from your perspective, kind of how much has that familiarity helped?
It's helped a lot. I mean, it's been a very easy transition, and I know the team. Besides the freshmen, I just had to get to know the freshmen, and that's been very easy as well. So, like I said, the team's made it easy, and our assistant coach Cheryl Mays, she's been very, very helpful to me too. Yeah.
And I guess just as the team going through a couple tournaments now, both on the men's and the women's side, what's been some of your early takeaways from those first few tournaments?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has been learning experiences. Our women's tournament was a national preview in Colorado, and I think we learned a lot. It was a pretty tough golf course. Rachel played very well, and I think it showed the team, Rachel played at nationals, and I think that the transition from nationals last year and practicing really hard this summer has helped the team realize what it does take to play well in a national preview event and that sort of thing. So in the men's team, they've had good round, bad round, but I think they've been bouncing back very well on their second day of each tournament. So I think they're ready for conference, and the women are ready for conference, so I think it'll be a good rest of the fall.
The men had a couple of nice scores last weekend up in St. Cloud. They did a nice job up there.
Yeah, they really did, especially the second round. Chance Myers bounced back very well. He didn't have a bad round the first round, but his second round was outstanding. So.
And then the last 2 weeks with Rachel over at Tartan Park at our own golf tournament, and then last weekend out in Colorado, you posted a couple nice scores there.
Yeah, thank you.
That was fun.
Thank you. Yes, it's fun playing well.
Yeah. So what part of your game right now is really going good for you right now?
Driver is really awesome, and I've always thought that if you can get off the tee, it's way more comfortable. You feel way more comfortable in where you're at, and more confidence when you're hitting it well off the tee. It kind of seems like if you can get off the tee pretty well, then everything else seems to follow after that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I got to do then.
Yeah, that's the trick for you.
Your scores have been good throughout the year so far. They've kind of been able to go steadily downward a little bit as well too. What kind of things have you been working on to get that improvement within the season?
Honestly, I've just been working every day, keeping the same tempo. So I'm just swinging at the golf ball over and over and over again, trying to make sure that it stays the same, because golf is so easy to get off your rhythm. And so I just told my dad recently that I don't want to wake up from this dream. I want to keep working hard and make sure that it lasts throughout the season.
So do you have a routine when you go to the golf course for a tournament on Saturday morning? Do you have a routine as to what you're going to hit, how many balls you're going to hit off the range, into the putting and chipping?
Usually I have a general idea. I have the same routine that I go through for each club, and a general amount of how many golf balls I want to hit, just so I can get that range session done. Head over, I chip a couple golf balls, make sure that feels pretty good. Use maybe different golf clubs, or know what I have to play a little bit more. If I have to play like a lower chip shot, maybe I practice those a little bit more, or higher chip shot, and then practice putting a ton. And I think what helped too is before both rounds, this past weekend while I was putting, it seemed like I was making everything. So that was really good confidence to practice, 15 minutes before I tee off, and just know that I was making a lot of putts.
I had a chance to watch her during the Tartan Park tournament. And every golfer, I mean, every student athlete is a golfer. They work hard. They work extremely hard at what they do. But I was watching Rachel along with a few of our other girls, and you were very intense it went from your putter to a wedge and back to your putter and back, and never stood still. And she was working hard from right from the start. And it was really fun to watch. It was fun to just, it's just fun to see how your routines go. Yeah.
And you mentioned the tournament that the team hosted, and you get to play a course you're familiar with, and then also, you have some tournaments in the area, but a chance for a lot of people to come out and see you play. What's kind of that experience like?
It was such like an honor to have everyone come out, especially for Tartan. I had a couple friends that came out that I actually haven't seen in years. I used to golf against them in high school, and they came out to watch me. And I really think that I actually play better when I have people watching, because I want to play well for not only myself, but also for them, to show them that I do deserve to be here and I do want to play well. And so I do think that that helps a lot of times. And my dad got to come to Colorado, so I think that that helps too, getting to play well for him.
And Taylor, a little bit with the men's team too. You mentioned they've been a little bit up and down, but some good scores recently. Chance Myers shot his first under par round in the last tournament. What have you kind of seen from him and some of the other players on the men's side?
Yeah, I practiced yesterday because I didn't get to go with them to their St. Cloud tournament, but I think at the practice yesterday they were very intense. They know what they need to do to get prepared for conference. So we were simulating a lot of the holes that are at the Jewel. So they're helping each other out with certain shots and helping each other with their short game, because I think that was a struggle, is a lot of their putting. So we're working on that very hard, and I think they're going to be very well prepared for this weekend.
So share with us a little bit about what the next week or two with the men's and the women's side both. The men go to?
The men are going to conference this weekend at the Jewel, and then the women have this weekend off, and then the women have conference at the Classic in Brainerd the following weekend, and then the men are at Missouri Western. So it's going to be a quick few weeks here, but I think we're very well prepared. And the last couple weeks that I haven't been here, I think they've learned a lot, and now that I'm here, I think it's going to be a good.
And we'll finish up the fall part of their season, then go into the spring. They'll go into winter workouts and then into the spring. Yeah, cool.
And then that conference tournament still the split setup where you've got a couple of rounds fall, a couple in the spring?
Yep, 36 holes in the fall, 36 in the spring, at 2 different golf courses. So it's a lot of fun. It gives them a chance to sit on whatever place throughout the winter and work hard and realize what they need to work on. And
it's gonna be an exciting year for men's and women's golf both. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
It's really cool.
Well, we'll talk more about it next month, kind of see how conference went and all that. But Taylor and Rachel, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And as we stay here on Golden Bear Insider, we're going to be joined by Steve Bellis, Erica Landry in just a minute, talking a little bit of soccer. But keep it here with you right now. And Tom, you mentioned a little bit getting a chance to see Rachel out at that tournament out at Tartan Park, the team hosting a tournament. Just a little bit about how that event went and how it was able to go hosting it.
Yeah, that's always fun. It's always fun to be able to host a tournament and showcase your players and your student athletes and how you do things and what you do. And it's always fun. But they had 8 schools out there for that women's tournament here almost 2 weeks ago now. And there's a lot of really good golfers in our league. The Northern Sun is an excellent league. There's just an exceptional league in every sport. But men's and women's golf at the Northern Sun at this level is really, really good. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And Tartan Park is in excellent shape right now. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that course here over the next month or two.
A lot of people obviously have to work hard to make it happen, but especially an outdoor event like that and everything, what kind of goes into putting something like that together?
I'm in charge of the weather.
You're in charge of it? You did a good job?
I'm in charge of his weather. I did a great job, I thought.
Yeah. So the golf tournament is a couple weekends ago. We'll talk about golf next month on the show here at Buffalo Wild Wings, but I want to thank you for joining us again. We're going to be doing this the first Thursday of every month, so you can come on out off of Snelling Avenue, right near the Concordia campus, and you can watch it. We'll have them posted about the first Thursday of every month as well if you want to check them out online. But we're going to talk about soccer now, joined by head coach Steve Bellis, also Erica Landry, and thank you two for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
And Steve, we'll start with you. Just kind of the first month, you had that long stretch of home games to begin the year that we talked about on the last show. We just went out on the road for the first time this past weekend, got a split in conference play. Steadily kind of picking up some wins here over the past couple weeks. Are you seeing some improvement in the team over that stretch?
Yeah, I would think so. We're looking for a little bit more consistency in everything that we do, but it was certainly nice to get a win last Sunday. And to be honest with you, we all thought that we probably should have come back with 6 points. So not disappointed in the way that they're playing. Obviously, the game is about putting the ball in the back of the net, and I think that's an area that we need to keep chipping away at and get a little bit better at. But yeah, so far so good, and we're certainly heading in the right direction.
I was out to practice here a week and a half ago, and I'll tell you what, those girls are working hard. They're working really hard. You got to be happy with that.
That's good. I mean, that's part and parcel of the game. You know, it's not an easy sport. It's a lot of physical contact, and we certainly practice that way. And it's an old saying, and you practice the way that you play. So yeah, we're giving it our best shot.
You mentioned trying to pick up the goal scoring. Goal prevention has been pretty good, and Emma Gartner has given you some good games in goal. If you can just maybe talk a little bit about what you've seen from her so far.
Yeah, Gartner's a character. There's no doubt about it. And goalkeepers are crazy. There's no sane person would want a soccer ball belted at you at 80 miles an hour. So most keepers are a little bit strange. But no, she's terrific. Senior, good leader, great voice, brave, slightly stupid at times, but just a great kid who's progressing, you know, and she was kicking herself after the Friday game at Crookston. She let a soft one in, and you could tell it was bugging her. And she came out on Sunday, and she was tremendous against Bemidji. That was probably her best performance since she's been here at Concordia. Yeah, she was terrific. But she's a great kid. I love coaching her.
And she's a senior. You had a couple other seniors in your 2 home wins, Jessica Bianchi against Viterbo, Lana Anderson against Sioux Falls, that had kind of breakout individual performances. I imagine that had to be good for you to see as well.
Yeah, I mean, the group as a whole, we have 9 seniors. Now, not all 9 are starting or not all 9 are playing, but we have a lot of experience on the field. So in terms of coaching, there isn't too much coaching to be done with some of the older players, that they know what they're supposed to do. It's just a case of being able to do it, you know. It's good to see Tara McMillan stepping up to the plate again as well. So yeah, no, it's a good group of kids, and they're all playing a part.
And Erica, for you, a returning player, played quite a bit last year as well, and working in the midfield, a lot of different responsibilities for you. Just kind of maybe take us through a little bit what you've got to do over the course of the match. I'm sure it is quite a lot, bouncing between offense and defense.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a lot of work. I think that I'm a very transitional player, so he has me playing all over the place. But I did start at forward my freshman year, which was a little difficult because I didn't play that in high school. So it was a different transition, but he does have me more in the midfield now. It's a big responsibility. You're working a lot on defense and a lot on offense. You have to make those runs off the ball, get open for your players. You just basically have to move. It's movement all the time.
Just touching on that a little bit, Erica has one of those tracker things that tells you how many miles that she's doing. In practice alone the other day, and this was a light practice, I think she'd done 5.5 miles in a light practice. So that kind of gives you the idea of what an average midfielder does in a game. You know, at a professional level, they're doing anywhere from 7 to 12 miles in a game, and I'm pretty certain that she's close to that. So it's terrific. I mean, the amount of work these guys put in is terrific. Yeah.
How do you go about training for that over the course of the summer?
Oh, over the summer, the best way to train for soccer is to play soccer. So playing in summer teams is a great way to prepare yourself for the season. So I do play on a summer league team. Unfortunately, I'm not in Minnesota. I live in Wisconsin, so I don't get to play with girls on my team, but I do play in a women's league, so just train for that, getting out, doing your running, doing the workouts that are sent to you, lifting, just everything that he sends to us, we really need to capitalize off and do so that we can be in shape when we come this season.
So I'm going to ask you the same question. What about when you guys go on a weekend? When you take off on a Friday morning or a Thursday afternoon for an away contest such as last weekend, you guys do a little bit of homework on the bus? You get things going there on the bus?
Yeah.
A little fun?
Yeah, it's fun. It's, it's a combination of...
How's the,
The team camaraderie is fantastic. We all get along so well. You would think that 28 girls on a team, it would be chaotic, and no, we all get along really well. Everybody supports everybody. You're always picking up each other if you do something wrong. It's never hard to have a positive vibe on our team.
So you guys enjoy hanging out with each other?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Best of friends.
And I guess for you too, Coach talking about the offense and defense, trying to find that balance. So you have that a lot individually as well. How do you kind of work to add that scoring while staying disciplined defensively?
Good question. I think that when you play more of a defensive position, it's important for you to work up towards the offensive area, you're always moving off the ball, and the forwards need you to come back and receive the ball so that you can get up and make those runs and get in the box. We need to have numbers in the box, and that's where we have struggled in the past, but when we get numbers in the box, it's almost impossible for us not to score. So.
And for you guys, I know you're back on the road next weekend, then you get to come home again after that. Just kind of what is the rest of the schedule looking like here for October coming up?
Yeah, 2 tough ones this weekend. Tough in terms of it's on the road. Obviously, traveling's not that easy, but both teams play on grass fields, and that's a big transition from playing on a beautiful turf field that we have. So we've practiced a little bit on grass this week just to kind of get used to it. But
a slower game?
It's slower, and it's harder to control the ball a little bit because you're dealing with like little bumps and divots in the field. Both teams will water their field, so it's a heavy field as well, so it takes more out of your legs as well. So in terms of like energy use, it's harder on grass. Your first touch on the ball has to be a little bit better, a little bit stronger. So it's a different game, you know, and it's hard to transition, but we'll get there early enough before both games and get a good warm-up in and hopefully get used to the changing surface. So it'll be 2 tough games this weekend. Northern have had a couple of good results. You know, they beat Bemidji, they tied against St. Cloud. Augustana just nicked a goal off from last week. So that'll be a tough one, and then obviously Moorhead are always a good battle as well. So yeah, we're looking forward to it though. It should be a good opportunity for us.
All right, well, thank you to both of you for joining us. We'll talk to you again next month.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.
Steve Bellis and Erica Landry here on Golden Bear Insider. Soccer team back home in a couple weeks. So we're going to be talking football next. Football with their homecoming game coming up on Saturday. So stick around. We'll be right back. You're watching Golden Bear Insider, a stream-powered production.
It was January 14th, 2011, playoff time, when mere mortals fall, but the great ones create their own destiny. Like Barry Patterson and his against all odds Hail Barry. He launched it past the front line, cleared the secondary, and threaded the needle to victory.
Buffalo Wild Wings. Wing Spear Sports.
O'Gara's is a proud sponsor of Concordia Golden Bear Athletics. O'Gara's, come on in.
And welcome back to Golden Bear Insider here at Buffalo Wild Wings in St. Paul. As we thank you for joining us here, this October edition of the show. We're going to get into football now. The football team off to a 1-3 start, joined by head coach Ryan Williams and cornerback Jimmy Mireri as well. So, Coach Jimmy, thank you very much for joining us here. And team coming off a home game here. You've alternated home and road here over the first 4 games, and I'm sure record not exactly where you want it, but as you kind of look at those 4 games, what are your takeaways, some of the positives you've seen, and some of the areas you want to improve?
Just the big thing is that in those first 4 games, there's a lot of things to learn from in a positive way. I wish we had more wins, no doubt. That's just obvious. Probably the most disappointing thing was that last weekend we just didn't play well as a full team and just got our butts kicked. But the good part is when that happens in a season, it usually never happens twice. So we learned a lot of lessons. I just see a different football team already this week. We've helped to trigger that as coaches. We've gone live. We've done some uncharacteristic things that people would probably say you're crazy to do if you're in the middle of a football season, but you also can't keep losing too. So we decided to change some things up. There's been some fights and some scuffles, and it's been good. So it's been a good week.
And Jimmy, the team already with some experience kind of dealing with adversity, different kind in that Moorhead game, but one of the toughest ways you can lose a game, and you were able to bounce back from that and pick up a road win against Minot State the next week. So can you kind of maybe use that experience a little bit of being able to shake off adversity and give a good effort in that next game?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the biggest thing for us is we need to just kind of be consistent with the things that we do right, and get a full game together. Offense plays well, defense plays well, special teams plays well. And I feel like we haven't got to that point where all three phases have played well. And this week we've really been stressing special teams. We've gone live. We've challenged guys. We switched up the depth chart a little bit. So it should be a good week.
You know, I don't have eyes in the back of my head, so I'm not going to look backwards, but I'm going to look ahead and just say, hey, we got a heck of a game coming up against Monroe. No matter who you play in the Northern Sun right now, you're gonna play a good team. So you got to be prepared week in and week out. Well, and it's going to go right back at it. We got the 2005 alumni team back this weekend. That was the last time we beat Winona in a big game, and so hopefully we can turn that around.
We had a pretty cool deal. Our guy who holds the all-time tackles record, Brian Doyle, who will lose that record hopefully this weekend, with Jordan Halverson having 11 plus or 12 plus tackles. I'm sure Josh knows, but he was at practice yesterday. He can't make it to the game this weekend, and he came to practice. And of course, when an alumni is there, I always ask them to speak to the team, and it kind of catches guys off guard. But it was as capturing and motivating and inspirational as anybody that's ever talked to our football team. I mean, he just got so emotional, and you could just, his passion was oozing out of his body. And the kids have hopefully captured it. And those are things that you can draw from to just get that extra focus on a consistent basis, like Jimmy talked about, so you can play better throughout a 4-quarter football game and win. And it's not an easy thing to do, but when you do that, it is an easy thing to do. So it'll be fun. We're playing Winona. That's all you got to say.
That's right. Exactly.
Playing Winona, man, and they're going to be ready for us, and we'll be ready for them. And
it'll be a battle.
It'll be fun. So
it'll be a battle.
One thing that stands out as one of the biggest positives so far has been the play of Alquan Vickers. He had the long kickoff return against Minot State. He gave you a long one last week against Bemidji as well, not quite all the way for a touchdown. He's been one of your top targets in the receiving game. Just as a redshirt freshman, what has he been able to add to the offense?
He's been outstanding. He's a tremendous football player. He's an even better young man, but he's got a ton of talents. We're going to utilize him more as he continues to get comfortable with the offense. There's going to be some different ways that we're going to use him this week that hopefully will catch Winona off guard and allow us to get some more advantages by just giving him more touches in a football game. You know, sometimes you can't always do that in the pass game because the coverage may not dictate that it gets thrown to him. But he's a special young man, and we know we can count on him to make plays and come to work every day and do good things. So he's a great kid.
Jimmy, you've been working with kind of a new corner partner in Dacian Schumann. First year starting with the team. How have you kind of built up a chemistry with him and the safeties as well back there in the secondary?
It's been good. It's been challenging as well, just because we got a new defensive coordinator and kept the same defense. Also added a few things, but Dacian, he struggled the first game, but then he was able to come back and he was Concordia Athlete of the Week, and then he kind of struggled last game, but he's a guy who he's mentally tougher than people think. You know, he's going to come back this game and he might just get Athlete of the Week again because he knows how to play the position very well, and I'm working with him and all the other DBs. We're growing. We're a young group. Other than me and Jordan Nusma, we're a relatively young group, but we're going to be all right. We're going to be good.
One of the things about our football team that I feel like I need to step in and say, and when you lose a game 47-7 and people talk, well, geez, what's wrong with the football team, or how are they going to respond, and this and that. This group of kids, this group of coaches, our football program, the one thing we never do is look back, and then that one thing we never do is worrying about what we can't control anymore. These kids have never quit. As long as I've been the head coach, they've never quit. We've been 1-6 before and won the last 4 games in a row. We go toe-to-toe with the national champs. There isn't anything this group can't do. It's just locking in and getting to a consistent basis where we do it all the time. And that's what we have to continue on a day-to-day basis struggle with. But these kids come to work every day and they never quit. So that's why we can go forward and know that we have a chance to win every football game and start getting a roll going. So that's the best part.
How about the quarterback position right now? You know, obviously you lost Corey. You got tell us a little bit about that.
The biggest thing that affects the quarterback position is just a new offensive, just a couple pieces. I told this to Jimmy on the way over. People don't realize when offensive linemen get hurt, they just see the production that doesn't happen because of it. And Josh Coyne, our starting left guard, is one of the best left guards in the conference, in my opinion. He's a man-eater. He's been out for 2 weeks, and that hurts the chemistry of an offensive line. I mean, OB was over yesterday, and he talked about just playing young guys at the offensive line. That's a trickle-down effect. So that's affected some of our protections. It's affected our run game. But we should have everybody back this weekend, barring anything happening today. That was our initial starting 5 unit. And if anybody remembers right, when our initial starting 5 unit was in, we played a very good football team in St. Cloud State. We rushed the football for 225 yards. So if that can happen, that's going to open up everything in our football team. It's going to open everything up for Ben. He's struggled at times, and he's looked great at times. And those inconsistencies all draw from that piece. I mean, everything in a football game starts and ends up front. If your offensive line and D-line play well, everything else happens around it.
Ben's better quarterback when he's a little protection there. When he has a little time back there,
when he gets more
make
time
good decisions. He always makes good decisions.
And the big thing about Ben is and I've been working with him like crazy this week, after practice, before practice, is getting the ball out quick. When he wants to delay his decision-making process, it causes not as consistent good decisions. Although he is a good scrambler, it just doesn't give you the ball out and getting that thing out quick and getting it to the open people. So we've been stressing that, and the sooner you can get it to Jason Oney and Vickers and Alex Carr and all those guys, the better off you are. So it helps out everybody.
And Jim, we talked about homecoming coming up on Saturday. You're an experienced player, been a part of this before. We've talked about, too, the excitement that having some of the alumni around can bring. Just how much of a spark do you expect that to give the team playing in that atmosphere on Saturday?
I think it's going to bring a lot of spark. Guys like James McNear, guys like Brian Doyle, he's not going to be there, but he was at our practice and he talked to us, gave us some words of wisdom. Just being able to see guys that have done what we've done and have experienced what we've experienced, and having them there to just add on to that atmosphere. And just the fact that we're playing Winona is big time. Ever since I've been here, they've been our biggest rivalry. It's been close games every year. We've won the past 2 years, so we're trying to three-peat with that performance. So it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge, and we take pride in guys coming in and supporting us the way these guys do. We're looking forward to that. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you joining us here today, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Fun. Thank you.
Head coach Ryan Williams, Jimmy Mireri here on Golden Bear Insider. Dan Flanagan, Tom Rebelke with you here from Buffalo Wild Wings. We're going to close out the show talking about cross country in just a minute, but Tom, we talked a little bit about that homecoming football game, and certainly there's a lot going on around campus at every homecoming, and what are some of the things that fans can expect if they come out to Seafoam Stadium on Saturday?
Well, they have the Distinguished Service Award. That's on Friday night. We have, like we said earlier, we have the 2005 alumni football team coming back on campus. They're going to be conducting chapel tomorrow morning, which is kind of exciting and kind of fun for them. They also have a little reunion party, dinner, if you will, tomorrow night, on Friday night, and then of course they'll be there for the game on Saturday at noon. And then obviously volleyball, they're on campus on Friday and Saturday. Friday night at 7 o'clock against Augustana. Saturday at 4 o'clock against Wayne State. And again, it's you buy a wristband and you get entrance to all the games. You get entrance to everything, and then as well, it's a carnival. They've got Comets Carnival that goes on from 2 to 5, and within that carnival, you have all the rides, and all the free food, and all that stuff with that wristband. So it's really, really, really a fun time. Concordia does a great job with their homecoming, and we expect it'll be another really good fun time.
We definitely encourage fans to come out to that this weekend. We will, of course, have the webcast for football and volleyball if you can't make it out, but should be a lot of fun. Weather's supposed to be good here this weekend in St. Paul for those events. So we are joined now by head coach Jonathan Breitbarth from the cross-country team. And Coach, you have a few meets under your belt here. First of all, thanks for joining us here today. But just wrapped up the GRIAC Invitational as well, which we talked about last month. But I guess what are some of the highlights for you here from these first few races, weeks of practice?
Well, thanks again for having me on the show. And yeah, we've had 3 competitions. The first one was a small meet, just get the rust off a little bit. Our second meet was out at UW Parkside, Kenosha, Wisconsin, and that was actually a great weekend for us. And then the Roy GRIAC Invitational this past weekend. Some of the highlights from this week, from this early season. One, and I know Tom's going to take credit for this, but it's been great weather here in September. I saw a stat that it's the warmest in history for Minnesota in September. So
it was 6 degrees above the average for the month of September. So that's good.
Yeah. But it's allowed us to really get after it and train. And we had some injuries back about 3-4 weeks ago, and a few kids who were actually found out they're a little more out of shape than they thought. And so the nice weather has allowed them to get into shape, and we're starting to, I feel like we're right on that cusp of getting over that hump. UW Parkside race, our top male runner was a freshman, Caleb Troy, and he did a great job racing in a bigger meet. He did well with the hills. It's a course that challenges you right at the beginning with a 0.6 of a mile hill, kind of straight up, and then the rest of the race continues. So he did a great job. On the women's side, our first two meets, Ruth Lindberg, a freshman, was our top runner. This past week, Maggie Marcus, who's our senior and really has her name in the record book in a number of different places, started to shine, and she looks strong at the GRIAC as we prepare for that conference championship. So those are the two individuals that have done well. For me, I've really enjoyed seeing them work together and run together. We've had packs. Our top three ladies have always kind of finished within about 10-20 seconds of each other, and that's exciting to see them racing together. On the guys' side, we have our top three also kind of getting out. They don't stay together quite as long into the race, but they're working well together. So, yeah, those are the highlights from the first couple of weeks.
And last week we had the GRIAC. Yep. Is there a bigger, better track or cross-country meet than the GRIAC?
It's a exciting atmosphere.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was, like we mentioned the last show, it's the first one in which Roy GRIAC wasn't around after passing away this summer. But it was a great day. It was a little warm once again. This is 2 years in a row where it's kind of been a little warmer than you'd like for racing. But it's a great atmosphere, and University of Minnesota does a great job out there in putting that together. And they've got a great facility for being able to host that.
Which we're going to use on October 24th for the NSIC cross-country conference meet. Again, it's as you say, is that considered a hilly course?
So when you think of, for those of you who are runners or even non-runners, you think of hilly course, you kind of think of up and down. Yeah. You think of elevation change. What really sets the GRIAC course apart is angles. So you could be running and your left foot is like a foot above your right foot. So you're utilizing muscles. When you normally go out for a normal run, you might do some hills up and down, but your feet are always pretty close to each other in terms of elevation. And that GRIAC course, you get separated, your left foot from your right foot, and it really takes a toll on the runners. So 2 weeks ago, we had a workout where we tried to find some sort of course that kind of replicated that type of footing, where they're going to have the sides of their legs, the muscles, the supporting muscles, usually aren't the prime movers, but they're more the supporters. We want to make sure that we got some work with those as well. So that's really what sets it apart. It is a hilly course. It's rolling hills up and down, but the challenge for a runner that the spectator really doesn't see is when you're kind of running on the side of a hill.
Yeah. The west of the north and
south. Yep.
I remember I ran across country in high school. It's not always necessarily a spectator sport, but the GRIAC you mentioned, there's a big crowd that comes out. A lot of friends and family can come out for that, and I imagine that's a pretty fun experience for the athletes to get to run in front of a few more people and experience that big crowd.
Absolutely. This is the third time in 9 years that we get to host the conference championships. The last time we hosted it after the race, I took a look at all the runners from all the schools that were competing and where they were from in terms of a high school. And 43% of the athletes were from within 70 miles of the Les Bolstad golf course. So it's great. It's a great location, spectator friendly to see them run 3 or 4 times throughout a race. But it's spectator friendly from the number of kids who will be competing in 3 weeks that grew up within an hour and a half drive of the Twin Cities here.
Yeah, and then something that most people don't know, I'm sure. Every time JB goes on the road with his team, they always allow an extra day for a community service project, and which is, I think, is phenomenal. It's unbelievable, first of all. But we've also implemented that in for the October 24th NSIC cross country meet. We have, I believe it's 6 of the schools or 8 of the schools are coming in in time to do a community service project on that Friday as well. And I think that's great. And I want to just say, thank you for doing that. That's fun, fantastic. And I know your athletes also appreciate that.
Absolutely. We see it as an opportunity to leave a mark in the community that we're going to, learn a little bit about the community that we're going to, and just being able to do something together to help others. And we'll be in the schools, the elementary schools, here in 3 weeks on that Friday, and there's a great need for kids in the schools to have older kids, young adults, however you look at them, to look up to, and we're excited for that opportunity as well.
That's great. So you have conference coming up this month, as you talked about, at that West Bolstad course. Kind of just again dates and times for people who may want to check that out.
October 24th. Tom's responsible for the weather, and 10 o'clock is the women's 6K race. 11:15 is the men's 8K race. It'll follow the exact same course as the Roy Griak Invitational, and we invite everyone to come out. It's a big day, athletics, Concordia Athletics. I know that's Roast the Dogs Day for volleyball, so we encourage you to come over in the morning, watch the cross country, and then come back over to the Gengelhof in the afternoon and support the Golden Bear volleyball team as well.
It'll be fun. Well, good luck in all the meets coming up. I'm sure we'll talk to you again next month.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, JB. Jonathan Breitbarth here for cross country head coach as we wrap up this edition of Golden Bear Insider. And again, we thank you for joining us here today. And Tom, just kind of any final thoughts about, again, with homecoming and what's coming up this month?
Yeah, no, it should be fun. It should be really a fun weekend, like I said, with volleyball on Friday, Saturday, and football Saturday afternoon, everything else that's going on with soccer on the road and everything that's going on. It's just a lot of fun. It's a bustling time right now.
Be a busy October once again. We'll wrap it all up, of course, next month when we return to Buffalo Wild Wings. But again, we want to thank you for watching here today, and obviously always keep an eye out on the website, cugoldenbears.com. Get all your up-to-date information. We have the webcasts for all the home matches as well, so you can check those out. But until next time, for Zach Schuster and his crew doing such a great job putting this together from a production side, Tom Rebelke, want to thank all of our guests once again as well. This has been Dan Flanagan. Thank you so much for watching Golden Bear Insider, a stream-powered production.